Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
In our exploration of the Masonic roles in the lodge and how they represent analogs for essentially your interior functions, I want to start with we've already discussed the Worshipful Master a little bit. We'll be coming back to that for sure over the next several episodes. But I want to start with one that's perhaps a little bit less expected, and I want to start with the role of the Senior Master of Ceremonies. Now, in the Pennsylvania Ritual, the Senior Master of Ceremonies' responsibility is to guard the examining room door. The examining room door is a lodge, a room in the lodge where anyone that needs to be tested to determine if they are a Mason has to go through. And they go through that door. There's a committee that's assigned. And in that committee, they are essentially tested on their Masonic sort of chops, and if it's appropriate, they allow them into the body of the open lodge. Now, if you look at that function for just a few minutes, I think you'll find that is essentially an analysis function of, in a mental context, that's an analysis function. That is a testing function to determine whether or not a concept or an idea can help you with your true purpose. So is it going to bring harmony or add value to the body of the open lodge? Now, in sort of broad Masonic terms, the Worshipful Master has the right to admit or deny anyone into the body of the open lodge, so long as they are first and foremost a Mason. Now, if they are not Masonic, if they're not a Mason, they're not allowed in the body of the open lodge. The same thing's true here with the examining room. We examine only for sort of Masonic validation. And as you go through this process, to determine what's allowed in the body of your open lodge, what's allowed in your mental landscape, what are you allowed to consider as evidence, what are you allowed to bring in to that sacred space, you can really dig in there and determine in many ways what data to consume, what knowledge to pursue, what facts to allow. All of those, that examination function essentially is designed to help validate external data for fit for purposeness for the lodge. Now, this is different than letting external stimulus in. Letting, let's say, news, for example, from your external landscape in. This is strictly speaking about letting higher purpose level content in. So do I let this new understanding about the way the world works relative to my life's work, do I allow it to inform my decisions or not? That's a hyper-specific focus relative to the work, rather than just saying, do I listen to that dude over there, or do I go pick up a book? This is taking a book that may be written about your life's work, your focus, your personal subject, and evaluating that book as fitness to inform your behavior. The Senior Master of Ceremonies' responsibility in the lodge is a function that a lot of us have not cultivated well in our mental sort of analog lodge. And so as you sit down to do this, you might want to develop some protocols, some tests, just in the same way that we have tests in the examining room. You might need to develop your own set of tests for, do I let this information in? What are the criteria for allowing it to inform my behaviors and my decisions? So that you can essentially prevent malicious actors, folks that don't belong, ideas that don't belong, concepts that don't belong into your lodge landscape, your personal circle, whatever you might want to consider that responsibility to be. You might want to create your own protocols for managing that moving forward, so you can activate your own internal Senior Master of Ceremonies. We'll get into more of this in future episodes. Talk soon.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at masonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.